Whether reason will prevail depends only partly upon us. We must hope and strive for the best. We must prepare for the worst.
I think it's a bit of all three of those things. Look, one can have a debate about the merits and demerits of the Iranian regime and what they've done domestically, what they've done in the region. You will not find too many defenders for their policies. But Iran is not a monolith. There is the leadership and then the people are suffering this week. And I think the biggest problem that critics have with the Trump administration's actions in the region this week is that they didn't sell this war to the people. They did not go through the proper channels. It was not authorized by Congress. They did not discuss it openly with the world. They did it while diplomatic talks were underway, and therefore raising the question, why should anyone ever come and talk or negotiate with the United States ever again? And then on top of that, you have the fact that there isn't a very clear sense of what the goal is, what the objectives are, what the schedule is. Trump said a few days ago that we're ahead of schedule. But what is the schedule? What was the plan? What are the objectives here? How do they differ from Israel's objectives? And then lastly, this brings in so many other countries in the region, the Gulf countries, allies of the United States, that are having to pay a very steep price right now, economically, socially, culturally. That may not have been factored in to the degree that they would have wanted. After all, many of these countries were advising, lobbying, begging the United States not to go into this war. So, to step back from all of this and answer your question as to how this fits the world minus one, that cover essay of ours, which was by Amitav Acharya at American University, was basically making the case that this new interregnum we're in, as in a period between orders, if the previous order was the American unipolar moment, and something else is going to come next, we don't know what that something else is, then this interregnum between those two orders is the world minus one, a world in which the United States is not just stepping back from the rules and the order that it created and built and sustained over the last 80 years, but in some cases is actively seeking to destroy it. And when you see the United States go to war without selling it at home or abroad, a head of state assassinating another head of state, um, that strikes me as something we must all pause and think about and wonder about the implications for global order, for international rules and norms. And I think the world minus one fits that framework really well. I would hope so. I can't speak for every single player and whether they would exhibit good faith. As a journalist, I would try to hold all sides to account, including the Democrats on this. But let's flip what you just said. Would, were you to assume bad faith in Congress or leaks within an administration and therefore you have a very tight circle, or that the media doesn't do its job properly so you don't speak to them? I mean, does that mean that you close ranks and just do not do things that are naturally democratic? Is that the answer? No. The answer is you fix the system. The answer is you take people along with you. In a democracy, you follow the rules, you listen to the people, and you take them along with you on a journey, even when it's inconvenient, and especially when it's inconvenient. And I say all of this because were you not to do that, you open the window for all kinds of problems: corruption, going into war for the wrong reasons, for personal gain. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case here, but that is the road you head down if you avoid and skirt democratic rules, norms, all of the systems we've put in place for decades. So there's under no circumstances would I recommend something like that. And remember, this is not a country that didn't want to come to the table. They were at the table. A few days before the launch of the attacks, the Omani foreign minister, who was the mediator for the latest round in talks, he came to the United States to speak to the media to say, hey, um, this was working out. We were getting closer to a deal. The Iranians were agreeing to serious restrictions. And he felt confident that the Iranians would never be able to reach a bomb. Were this deal and the proposals they were discussing, were they allowed to go through? So it beggars belief that this war needed to be conducted when it was, in the way that it was. The strongest reason for doing it was that Iran was at its weakest moment. That is not a reason.